Yeah, man, life's crazy.
How do you
It's good
think
though.
fire
It's a
changed?
story.
Go on.
Yeah, just like how we were talking about before the pod, how it's like some moments are so somewhat perfect, or like the punchline hits and it's funny, or something happens in the story. It's like whenever you're reading the story, it's like reading the text and you laugh out loud just because of whatever you're interpreting in the book in your mind. And you're like, huh. And they're
Yeah,
like, what are you doing? It's like watching it, yeah, entertaining yourself with that. But life is like that. Moments will lead themselves to a funny thing. It's like objectively funny, or a foreshadowing moment,
yeah.
character arcs.
Or it feels like it's bigger than what you're just. Sometimes you just like wake up and go to work and go home and blah blah blah. But then sometimes like something happens that's like it's like life has good writing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Yeah, the story of
like,
life is rich.
yeah, it's like well
Got
written.
depth. Well written. There we go.
And you're like, that shit's funny.
Yeah.
That shit's hilarious. Like outside of myself, that's just funny. Like for instance,
Mm-hmm.
just for instance, man, I have like a we have a friend that we work with that um wears like a suit that's a little bit different than everybody else's suit, but I think it looks dope. But it's also raised some eyebrows around the office. You can imagine like just in your workplace, someone's uniform is just like a little extra flair on it, kind of out of nowhere. And then there's been after a couple times, the boss was like, all right, like saying let's get back to your regular uniform on regular days. And he was just continued to pull up with looking like the New York Yankees, and it was hard, and I liked it. And
A little diff.
sometimes we're rewarded for going against the grain or being brazen. Like we definitely need to see some Stark in our captains on the floor
Mm.
or on the field, or like you like to see a sharp, strong personality. So sometimes pulling up with
In leadership.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I want to see someone with some fucking cojones, man. Fucking some moxie, man. That's a better word for it.
There we go.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that word.
yeah. So
Some
sometimes,
fucking moxie, bro.
yeah, that's a good trait. You know what I'm saying? You got to know when to turn your switch on and like
Uh-huh.
be you. You know what I'm saying? Be stark and brazen. And so I had some appreciation for it, but like after a while, people, and also because the team was kind of like, hey man, like we're not like I would wear a black shirt if I was just gonna be like ultra
Different.
different and independent
Almost like
from
pushing the boundaries completely.
or ignoring them pretty much. Like I push the boundaries now, but like to wear the black shirt would be to completely to ignore them. And like
Mm.
I feel like I'm trying to be a little balanced. You know what I'm saying? But but for in his instance, he is like basically in that field of ignoring it at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's raising more eyebrows because it's one thing, you know what I'm saying, to push the boundary, another to ignore it, especially because we're leaders. Like your peers are the leaders, and so we have like leadership standards for ourselves and everybody.
Yeah.
Just like personally outside of the fucking job, that's like what gives us, I feel like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the credibility to be in that job is because we're those people. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Yeah.
100%.
And so just like person to person, athlete to athlete, like I'm Cristiano and I'm looking at Suarez, I'm like, how long are you wear those pink cleats for, bro? Like,
I thought we were all on the same page here.
yeah,
I
right?
know there are arbitrary rules to a degree, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. And then a couple of days
It's not
ago
that big a deal.
at work, my man is just like doing his job, doing what he's got to do. He's got to pick something up for one of the coworkers. He drops down real quick, hits a squat, and then like he ripped his pants.
SpongeBob?
He full on
No.
ripped his pants. And I know you spent a while walking in those pants, but now they're ripped to your ankles and you're real bad.
And it gone.
Yeah, so
Gone.
I've been there. I've been there.
Happened?
Yeah,
Recently?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my man was just wearing the suit that, you know what I'm saying, was in question.
In question.
And he's doing his job, and all of a sudden he bends down for a squat and embarrassingly enough destroys his pants from waist to crotch, right down the backside, just like SpongeBob. And he's on the job, you know what I'm saying? He's literally at work.
When
like
did this happen?
I want to say it was the Thursday night. That was one of the things getting me through.
That's terrible.
because
I love it.
I
It's
walked
so
back.
funny. I don't remember. I guess I didn't catch any wind of this. It's crazy what happens in the office. different parts of the different floors of the office.
I like describing it more like scoped out, just as work and more relatable to like an office scenario, you know. So like I see him not at his post where he's usually like doing a lot of damage. Like he's usually like taking a lot of the pressure off of everybody else on the floor, and he's just kind of in the back doing arbitrary work. And I'm like, not only that, but he's got a fucking apron covering himself on the backside.
That's what it was. Okay.
The LES night.
Yes. Yes.
That was Thursday, right?
Oh, that had to be. Because I remember seeing him with that on. I just thought, like, what the fuck?
I gave him that look, and he was like, I ripped my pants. And I just, dude, I laughed.
I didn't even ask.
I laughed so hard. Like, I almost felt bad. But it was funny because I guess nobody wanted to, like, approach him because he's kind of like a hothead. Like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Get back to work. Like, you're just here to make fun of me? Go do your fucking job you're not good at yet. And, like, I respect this. It's like drill sergeant sometimes. It's like I said, it's like same kind of balance. Raise his eyebrows. We're not sure, but you got to be a stark, brazen leader. So, it was funny because everyone's kind of like, how do I put this? Tight butthole about the fact that Daniel had ripped his suit. It was a real tongue in cheek for everybody in the whole room. And he tells me what happens, and I just freaking howl. I'm like, like, I just lose it, right?
No.
And I feel everybody like kind of starts to like laugh a little bit and like ease the tension a little bit. And I was just like, man, like,
that's the second time. That's the second time that's happened.
Hey, man, if
the first one was in battle, or this one you're referring to was in battle. The first one was before this. I think John was talking about it.
I think I did have heard the story from John. War planning phases.
Yeah, yep. But oh my gosh, so you broke the room.
Yeah, and it was just funny, bro. To me, it was hilarious, and also like
it is.
I didn't even think to be embarrassed for him because I was at the club like 3 weeks ago now, and I hadn't been like to a club where I was like dancing in like a long time, and I was just fucking going off, and I was like a little tipsy, and I just like, have you ever been like dancing and you're like hitting that hoe, and then it's like you've been hitting that hoe for like 3 or 4 songs, and now you've had a couple drinks, and a new bag opens up because you're like in your groove, you know what I'm saying? Like
you're warmed up.
Yeah, the song starts breaking down. I'm like breaking down with the song and then pulling myself back up. I'm like crushing it, bro. I'm fucking crushing it.
Murder Squad.
And then I freaking get low. I was freaking hitting like a Dougie, like dropping it low with the song Get Low, and I got too low and ripped my pants. From waist to the crotch,
Instructions unclear. I ripped my pants.
What do I do?
How do I handle this?
What do I do next? Yeah. That wasn't in the song.
Getting low was my only objective.
I got low.
You got low. My man got low.
I was down there,
You're
bro.
You're good.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
Let's go.
So then, I'm thinking, what do I do here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, God.
I can't.
No backup pants on you.
No. I might have had a pair in my car now that I'm thinking about it, but I was just in the game, man. It's like, that's in the locker room. I'm in the game, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
actually, my warm-ups are in my locker, bro. We're knee deep in the third quarter.
So I doubled down and just start dancing even harder.
My guy.
And I'm on stage, basically. There's like 2 like stages in the middle of the dance floor, and we're just like going crazy, and I'm like, I'm not coming out, coach. I'm not coming out. Here we go.
We're going for it. Well, your boxers, like, what color? What pattern? Any pattern? Just color?
So
black?
They were definitely Under Armour, like, spandex shorts.
Yeah.
And so I was, like, good on that regard, but I just feel like they were either black or white, dude.
Big difference.
They were either black or white, dog. And I feel like
black would be alright.
The black wouldn't be too bad, right? You just have the rip there. And I feel like that's ultimately how I got over it. But part of my brain,
if it's the white,
because I was wearing a white shirt and I was wearing a light colored jacket and I was wearing navy pants, and it sounds to me like if I was wearing that fit and the white underwear were available, I would have worn them.
Okay.
But then again, they're like fucking like white spandex, and they're bright white. They're not like dirty at all. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like relatively new. So I was just like, nope, going for 73 like Luca.
I'm still out here.
Yeah,
6 songs deep with ripped pants.
Could you imagine? That was
Yes,
me
bro.
going
But
on.
yeah, I had in fucking in Vegas. I did the same thing with my pants.
Dude, it was
playing
like-
Foursquare at that bar, the Gold Spike that has a whole bunch of games outside and shit. They have like 2 different DJs going on, and yeah, going hard on some Foursquare and just gone. Rip R.I.P. to pants, bro.
That Foursquare was some of the best. That's one of the most fun times I probably had in Las Vegas was just playing Foursquare at this club.
It was packed.
So cool,
It was
bro.
popping. Yeah, it was tight. I remember that being super, super tight back in the day. Years ago. Fucking years ago, bro.
That's like an archived memory.
Like 7, 8 years ago, roughly. Fuck around.
Where does the time go?
Where's it go? Where does it go? But yeah, man, rip pants. Shout out rip pants everywhere.
If you rip your pants and you keep dancing, then I'll rock with you.
I rock with you.
I'm rocking with that guy. He just like, you got 2 choices, son. Pull over the car or bounce on the metal, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, just double down, bro.
Double down, triple down.
I got lower, bro.
You split, then you double down to split.
Ace.
Come on.
Yeah, shit was great. So at that point, whenever I was just laughing my ass off at Daniel, like, it was just fucking like, it was just funny to me. I didn't even think about his embarrassment level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, he was just like, whatever, bro. Like, I'm chilling. I'm off the floor. Fuck it. Like, but the hilarious thing about
Do
it,
what I gotta do.
the thing that makes it so funny though, is that it was in the suit that he was supposed to stop wearing for so long, and he was
Mhm.
just like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good." And then he had to go through like an embarrassing moment, like, you know, slightly embarrassing
Like
moment.
a somewhat karmic repercussion.
Yeah, and that's just like I said, I think it's good writing.
Part of life. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was hilarious. I don't.
Part of the narrative structure or whatever the hell's going on here.
Yeah. I don't know. It sucks because
Some of that
like
shit.
not all the time does like good things happen to people just like going around doing like good deeds for people. You know what I'm saying? And like, what's the true nature of a good deed? Like, if you're doing a good deed because you want something not good, or for like I guess altruism means like you want pure good with no selfish attachment to the good that you want. Like, you just want good to happen for real.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of selfish attachments to people who want to do good. So like, those people who are falling short of altruism, their karma wouldn't even necessarily just be like good things back for them based on where that thing is coming from, in my opinion. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're doing good for a selfish reason, I don't think the universe is going to give you good back. It's like it's legal tender. You know what I'm saying? Like, God knows your heart.
Yeah, it reflects the truth of what you're trying to do, I think. Or
Yeah.
it knows your deepest intention, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true too.
Even more than you do, because we have that whole subconscious thing going on down there.
Yeah.
We're just only conscious on this level. We just got control of this level. So who knows what's going on really, really, you know?
Yeah, it
Like
got
crazy
me.
shit like that. Like that one guy on the Joe Rogan podcast. What was it? The Dorian Yates? I don't know. Maybe it might have been an episode with Dorian Yates, but there was an episode where he was talking to a guy who was doing, or maybe recalling an experience he had with one of his homies about doing, was it DMT, I think? Something like that, maybe?
I think
it's
this is
DMT.
Dorian's story.
Yeah, but then like his homie had like opened a box of a memory of him like as a baby with the umbilical cord like wrapped around his neck,
Oh yeah.
and he like reenacted that out almost whenever he was going through that trip.
Oh,
And it's like, yeah, or like something that was like trapped in his
I think
subconscious.
that's the mushroom guy, right?
I'm not sure which one it was.
I don't know. Okay, yeah,
But it was
I'm
a
with
story
you
about
there.
DMT, and like it opened up that box more or less of like that part of his memory.
Yeah,
It was like locked in there.
yeah,
Your subconscious,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's it. That's there. You've got your.
But I think
whole-
life knows your truest intention, you know? Even if you
Yes.
don't even consciously know what you're really, really trying to do. Like there's, I think in your heart of hearts, whatever that, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that phrase is referring to,
Go on.
in the depth of the depth,
Yeah,
past your own perception of what you think's going on here, you know what's going on here.
yeah. You do.
Right?
You do.
I think so.
You do.
That makes sense to me.
You know.
You know.
That's why that's a
You
thing.
fucking know.
That's why that's a thing. It's because like people know.
in
you
your
know?
heart of hearts.
That's like that's why when someone tells the truth and you feel someone be like, like he's right, like that's fucking because you know, like you
Mhm.
know. Sometimes, man, it's like history is written by who can make the best argument. Sometimes because it's hard because if you don't like say and articulate the thing that everybody kind of knows, then it'll stay just in that place of like subconscious, you know?
Yeah, the ambiguity,
Yeah.
like in the shadows.
Yeah, and you have to do it to yourself with your own ambiguity for the things that you're kind of like. I think it was easy for me to see the things that I was hiding from myself whenever you start being like, it's just self reflective, you know?
Start looking, start putting the light on some things, just like looking at it.
Yeah. It's usually like the things you want to avoid the most are the things that you probably need to address like in equal of importance. It's not like maybe like
Yeah.
it might not always help you to
Hell
like
yeah.
say the things you want to address the least, you should address with those things first and foremost might not be accurate. It might take some time. Like you kind of I had to like give up sugar before I could give up smoking because I had to like understand what it was like to give something up because I didn't really have like even level 1 give something up yet. But then once I got level 1 give something up, it was easier to apply it to something more difficult to give up. So I think it's the same thing with like kind of going backwards with like the things in your own self-reflection that you need to take care of. Sometimes take care of some little shit first, so you develop like some tools for taking care of your shit. You know
That
what I'm
fasting
saying?
muscle.
Yeah. And then whenever you have like
The
that shit
prayer.
you really don't want to think about or like you know the thing you really want to avoid fixing about yourself because it's gonna take a lot of changing or whatever. Like maybe you'll be a little more like
Or like discomfort.
yeah. Because some of the discomfort is like a lot to handle, you know. But I think you can like kind of like prepare yourself for it. Be better prepared for it.
Yeah. By doing the other, like, yeah, little shit. Or anything. Any disciplinary action.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what a good example would be. Like I remember when I was a kid, I went through a phase where I didn't look in the mirror for a long time. Like maybe like almost a year. Where like as I'm going to leave a bathroom, as I'm going to look at the mirror, I'm already like fading that and like not looking at the mirror and walking out. Because I was like overweight and didn't want to like look at myself, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then even at some level I was like, well that's like weird. You know what I'm saying? That you like can't look in the mirror. That's kind of like not something I want to be doing as a person, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt
The movie
wrong.
that I gotta watch.
Yeah. And so I'm like, how do I go about fucking fixing this? And at first it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna like look in the mirror. And then I like looked in the mirror and then I was like, okay, like this is like what I am. And I need to like fix this or I'm not gonna be happy. And then I ended up having people come into my life that just like wanted to help me work out and get in shape. And it ended up just being like working itself out, you know what I'm saying? Like help came to me and I just like accepted the help. You know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah, let's go.
They were just like, all you have to do is like be uncomfortable. Like get up early and go to this place and be uncomfortable. And you can have what you want. It's like that's not too much to ask, you know?
Yeah.
It was still hard, but like I did it.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Right.
God brings those people, or the story brings those people into your life.
Yeah.
It's like, bam, let's go.
And I think that
Like-
that's a what were you gonna say?
I was say like during like your high school years.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
critical time.
That was probably like age 14. And then by age, or like maybe it was like 14 and a half to 15 and a half. And then from 15 and a half to 16 is when like those people came into my life and like helped me out, you know what I'm saying? And got me, give me like help. That really what I think sometimes what they did was they saw me for how I saw myself. And I didn't see myself as this person that was like overweight and couldn't have the discipline to like be who they wanted to be because I felt like I could always be like a grinder and I played so much sports, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I can win this football game, like just throw me the ball, like like I'm a winner, like or whatever it would be, you know what I'm saying? And with that in mind, they were like, okay, he just doesn't know how to do these things, so we can like teach him and like take him through like the fucking shit, you know what I'm saying? And he'll allegedly get to the other side.
Yeah.
And that show was cool, like. Yeah, like you said, critical years.
Critical.
Super critical years, man.
Hitting, bro. Fucking yes, dog. And it was like I think one thing that lit in my mind when you were talking that story was like if you're maybe just like even that step of addressing it and like even like looking at the mirror for the first time, you know what I'm saying? Like addressing that, putting awareness on it kind of quickly or whatever, or like fully, that full awareness of like, all right, boom.
Take it in.
Like maybe taking that step was like enough to attract those like that's like a ripple effect that brought those people into your life or whatever, or allowed those conversations to happen.
I think so. I think
Right?
it is like that.
You were open to those doors. You were like, just I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Or I'll do it. Whatever.
I think that's how the pattern works, right? Is like to look at the thing is the first step towards like sometimes you do need help. Most of the time we do need help to take care of whatever's going on, you know? But like looking at it's always the first step to like maybe that help coming to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of want
Something
to
like that.
scratch what I just said and more just agree with what you said. That I think when you put the energy on like I want something better, then like when you actually take that step, like I'm gonna look at myself and like the thing I'm avoiding looking at, like I'm gonna actually see what I'm doing wrong here and try to figure out what I could be doing better. You know,
Mm.
like that energy going out into the
That
universe,
energy.
yeah, bring something back. Hopefully, you know. I got lucky. I pulled something very awesome out.
Yeah, or maybe it was like that energy was that energy is always that energy. It just looks different every time you do it. And like the first time or whenever you're doing it that first time, it was like looking at the mirror was like the equivalent of like what we did today. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same energy. It just looks different.
Yeah, I
It's
see what
just
you're
more
saying.
developed.
Yeah,
Like the level at which you can do it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like
Just
I didn't.
forever.
It wasn't in my life to just go to the gym and suffer at an extreme rate. I didn't know.
Hmm.
Like it was the hard thing to do then was to just look at that was the squat, that
Yeah.
was the deadlift.
That was the painful thing, the uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like reaching for it at that degree. And then yeah, like just running around the block. I think that like just committing at whatever level, like I think your mind kind of like imagines sometimes like if I did this, that would mean something to me. Like if I ran like four laps around the block, that would mean something to me. And then I get like 1 or 2 laps around the block and you can kind of like fold on yourself or like push for that number that you saw in your head.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of the game I always play with myself where it's like whatever that vision I had for what I should do, I either want to do it or supersede it, you know?
Yeah. And then that builds like the forward momentum of like trying to outdo yourself, trying to PR.
Yeah.
That feeling of PR is like a real thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
It
I'm
means
different
something.
now. Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's like tracking growth almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's sick.
100%. Feels great.
Yeah, I like what you said. I was just a kid. So like as a kid, you know, maybe it's just like simple actions can also have massive energy swings because you live a simple life.
It's the
you know?
energy you're putting out. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Super true, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess back to altruism. It's like, are you trying to do it like for what? It's like for myself, for real.
Yeah.
It's like that's like or like for like the betterment of just like being like being better than what it is right now.
Yeah.
Like more good. It could be more good than this. How good can we make it?
Yeah.
Or can I be? And then I guess not or falling short of that. We were talking about that earlier, right? I forget in what capacity. People not really wanting good for like or having selfish desires.
No,
for like doing
yeah.
good sheesh.
Because I was talking about like energy input output. It's like sometimes just people that are just going around doing like quote unquote good deeds might not just have like good things happen to them. So we were talking about how our friend who was doing cruising for a bruising kind of
cruising for a bruising. That's a thing.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what it seemed like, and then he got his like reaction from the universe.
Yeah, the life.
And it just played a little joke on him. It was
Like-
kind of sweet. You know what I'm saying? Just a little funny, like, I should have listened. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, bro.
Mhm.
And like, it's sweet. But yeah, then I was talking about how, but it's not. I don't think it's like just like people who are doing bad things happen, and people who are doing good things happen. Like, how do you define what's good? Like, what are we talking? Truly good, or like how much selfish good? Because also like sometimes you could be doing something selfish, but your heart's in the right place. You know, so
or doing something like philanthropic, but your heart's on the wrong place.
yeah, right. Like, come on, bro. Like, show me who your heroes are. You know, like tell me how they act. Yeah, yeah, dude. My role models are my brothers, dog. For real, it's crazy. We could write that song, dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we really well. I think that you should try your hardest to. It's the same thing. Like usually doing whatever that more true good thing is like just like the weight room where you have to be like a little uncomfortable, and like usually you identify it in your imagination before the opportunity presents itself, and you just have to like follow through and do the thing that you were like like I'm gonna wake up early and go to church so I can do this whole day like this, or like I'm gonna like study a little bit longer because I don't think I'm prepared for this test, or like that moment of like I need to do the right thing here, you know. I think
yeah, life will play itself out in accordance with that. I guess I don't know, because I guess it does seem like random shit kind of happens all the time, but I don't think that's the case at all. I don't know, in my personal belief.
dude,
What seems random is just based on you right now at this level of consciousness. Like that's so little compared to what's really out there.
Yeah.
Like how much are you aware of really, you know? Who who dare say they're aware of what's going on?
That's true, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that we know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like I know that I don't know what's happening. that's just facts.
Yeah. I mean, relatively.
I've limited control.
Like, what do I know? But go ahead.
I was saying, like, yeah, you have like limited control and limited perspective.
Yeah.
You only know
always.
so much from where you're at. There's so much out there.
A wise man knows he knows nothing at all.
Yes, I think Aristotle maybe. I forget who says that sentiment.
Drake.
Yeah. Future. I don't know.
No, but seriously,
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay humble because
That's why I would like science so much. Science is like, this is this. This is this. All right, fuckers.
it's like
I know this.
gravity.
Oh,
We can define it. Like things are falling down.
we can define it. We can experiment with it. We know we can quantify it.
Yeah, we know exactly how fast and at what force it's coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Different planets have different amount of fast and
Where
force
it's coming
down.
from, how it got here, or not how it got here exactly, but
Dude, I think there's just no
We just love
science
science.
for like story. Like story isn't art isn't science. I guess is what I'm saying.
yes, yes.
But like it's
Preach. Oh.
but
But it is a science. Oh,
yeah, but it's just as true. Yeah, but like I think so. When I think about
that's hard. Sorry.
all right. When I think about like random shit going on, I'm like I think that's just like the like in our fucking in space. There's like asteroids and like fucking comets and like what you would deem random shit that makes like a universe that's like the contents of a universe though is that there's
Mhm.
other planets and asteroids and stars and,
And
gas
shit in there.
Yeah.
It's not nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I
Uh-huh.
think like that's the same thing with story is like there's random shit going on, yes, and if you don't engage with your story you'll just interact with like the asteroid belts and the stars and the gas chambers. Like that's the makings of the story that constitutes like where your story resides in, and you're supposed to be engaging with your story, and then the random shit wouldn't really be in your life very much. It would be
Well,
more
the random shit would be more incorporated into your path.
yeah, and it would like make
Part of the path.
make sense to
Makes
you
sense.
as it's supposed to, you know?
Yeah, it's part of the movie. It's like the heroes just like did the shit, and then like, but now they like stole the ship, and now the ship is going through an asteroid field. And it's like, oh shit, it's exciting.
Yeah, right. Instead of just like
Random asteroid fields all the time.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck that.
But people I think aren't engaging with their story at like a high level or like
I see what you're saying, 100%. Yeah,
like, let's imagine like RuneScape, like
it's a story.
you have a directive in your head of like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get this armor and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do that quest.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but instead, people are just like logging in and they know that's their directive. And if they were gonna really play the game, that's how they'd play it. But instead, they're just like bullshitting around, like walking, talking to NPCs, going to B sales, just like not really doing anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the avoidance of the story because it's, you know, it's a lot.
It's a lot to commit to.
Yeah. Anytime you go, why would people struggle to embrace their story?
I was just thinking in the metaphor of RuneScape. It's like, it's a lot to say, like, yeah, man, I'm going to go from level X to level Y, and I'm going to do that. And then, like, you start doing it, and you're just like, oh my God, this is going to take hours. Fuck around. So I guess how does that translate? Because, like, this shit's hard, and it is time-consuming, and it's taxing, and it's going to take a long time. Like, one workout's not going to, you're not going to see any results from one workout. You're not going to see any results from one study session for 1 hour. You need to dedicate hours, days, weeks, months, years. Expand the frame.
Yeah, I felt that when we were in the gym today because, okay, hold that gym thought. I'm going to go back further.
Gym thought.
That sentiment is why I quit playing guitar when I was a kid. Because I took lessons for like a year maybe,
Mm-hmm.
give or take a couple months. And like I played at like the Christmas, you know, like Christmas church event. How they do all the carols and they have like special music and stuff like that. Like I played there, I played at my school.
Let's
Like,
go.
I could play in front of people, you know what I'm saying?
My boy hooping out here.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I was just learning one song at a time, because I would just like learn how to play that song, and then I'd have like mastery of that song, and then I'd go on to the next song. I mean, I was just like learning different songs like that. But it got to the point where I was like, okay, but like I want to be nasty. Like I want to just pick up the guitar and play dope shit and not have to be like reading off of fucking scripts and like memorizing different stuff like for songs I don't even really want to play, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to hop on the piano and like shred,
I just
but
want to shred. I just want to
yeah.
fucking crush.
And they were like, it's gonna take fucking 10,000 hours
Ten
of
thousand of them
work.
bitches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, we'll teach you more power chords and you can start learning like how to just play chords over and over. So that way, like when you want to start writing music, you'll know different chords to put together. And I was like trying to wrap my mind around that. And it was just like, it was just too overwhelming. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to play sports and video games and fucking be a kid, bro.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
To be
But I
fucking-
regret it as an adult, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's other things where I didn't do that, you know what I'm saying? For instance, like when we were in the gym today, I like we were lifting heavy ass weight and it was just like
pushing.
kind of a lot and we were like getting through the workout and I didn't feel like overwhelmed, but I was just like, okay, you gotta like fucking draw down, motherfucker, draw down. I'm gonna have to pull the strength out on
Rare,
me.
bro. Rare, bro.
Yeah. Like for real, like taking myself to the edges of my mental capacities and then trying to take a few steps over that. That's kind of like the ideal workout, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
And I was just like really getting after it and then it was just cool because like I remember being younger in the gym and I couldn't lift heavy weight really respective to what I think is heavy and I didn't look super good and I was very far away from my goals and also I was super new so like I didn't know for sure like the equation for like is this worth my time, you know, you're kind of just like walking
Yeah.
in faith for a
You
while.
don't know what you're doing 100%.
No
No way.
no
Nah, it's part of being new.
but that guy just
You gotta
kept
take that
going,
shit.
bro.
Yeah.
And
hell
I looked
yeah.
at you and I looked at Emilio and I was like, no, it's working for them. Like, that shit they're preaching is true. All these motherfucking athletes I see everywhere
It's
I'm
like, son
at.
of a bitch.
Yeah, they're right. And every time I put in work, I get closer to my ideal self, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to look like Jalen Hurts or fucking. When you're a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had role models where I was. Also, weight was kind of like a thing in my family because, like, my parents were overweight and didn't want to be overweight. So as a kid, I'm like seeing athletes, and then I'm looking at my parents being like, "Yeah, I wish I was like more in shape." And I'm like, "These guys are like that." And I'm like, "How am I gonna?" You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always like kind of figuring out like, am I gonna fall down the same path of, oh, I don't get to have that because it's not for me, or it's not in my genetics, or am I gonna like,
I don't have access to that.
yeah, like what the fuck? You know what I'm
Fuck,
saying?
what?
Yeah, it seems unfair as fuck.
That's bullshit.
My parents are like suffering every day because they don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not on paper. It'd be like false, but then like every time I go home, I'm like, well, god damn it, it's true. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lie, you know.
There it is.
But like, it's crazy just because the perspective changed from now, where I'm like, this is so worth my time. Like this is so worth the commitment level that I've given to it, and that I still give to it, and like, it's just so far detached from that space of, and I think that's what the life walk is like too. Like in the beginning, you're like, man, all I see is this thing, and there's a lot of reasons why doing my best doesn't seem to be worth it, and like giving like your heart out to what you have to do, and like being really committed to something is like a lot to ask of anybody. And if people get burned on their commitments and shit like that, and they see a lot of like, you know, trauma going around to all the people all around them, it's like why, you know, why would you? Why, it's a lot to ask someone to give themselves to something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you got. I need all your time and attention. Or not all of it, but I need you to be always giving a time and attention to this, whatever it is.
Yeah, sacrificing for it,
Sacrificing.
dedicating yourself to it, going against the grain for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the nature of life, right?
Yeah. It's a lot. You're all in, as Jordan Peterson would say.
Dude, I saw him.
You are all in this motherfucker. Come on, baby.
Might as well be. Because you are.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. At least as far as we can tell. Who
Yeah.
knows what really happens in the after. But all we know for sure is that this is finite. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be here for so long.
I saw this quote that was like,
But the story's amazing. Keep going.
yeah, there's some
Gym thought. Oh, was it a gym thought? Or did you go over?
that was kind of
Okay.
like what I was talking about just now, where I was in the gym and it hit me like that where I'm at now, it's obvious to me how worth it is to have put in 10,000 hours, to have, you know, after my surgery, there was a point where I was doing a lot of machine weights, and that's how I convinced myself, like, no, I know you're on rehab. You should be in rehab, but you're going to rehab yourself. How would you do that? And I'd be like, well, I'd go back to machine weights. I'd do lightweight. I'd do like 4 weeks of taking it careful with myself, and then I'd amp up to high reps, low weight, and conquer that. And but then eventually you'd have to jump to free weights. And I remember that was like scary. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like fucking. I gotta get back to benching and squatting. But that's like, or you could be a pussy and just keep doing these machine weights, bro. You could just like keep it where it's at, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're getting a workout in. You
Keep
know
the status quo.
Yeah. I had to be like, no, I'm not gonna be someone who doesn't squat again after they had surgery.
Someone who pushes the envelope.
Right. You gotta be a brazen motherfucker.
You gotta be an envelope pushing motherfucker.
Yeah. And it's like
At least
that.
within your own limits that you set for yourself or whatever.
Yeah, and flash forward to my own self now where I'm like, yeah, I gotta throw 3 plates on for this set or I'm not gonna feel like I'm really fucking doing it. Like, I know I can do that. It's a lot. I could have stayed at 225. Like, the 275 jump was the big one. I didn't really want to ever put that on the bar. I was like, that's a lot of weight, bro.
Let's go.
Like, 245, I was happy with that. I was happy to do that like 8 to 10 times and call it a day, bro.
Call it a day.
And then I just felt the call, bro. Like, felt the fucking call. Hanging out with a good group will do that, you know what I'm saying?
Call the wild.
And then you got to answer that call. That's what life is, you know what I'm saying? Like, that vision, you get that imagination, you get that, like, yeah, but what if I did this? I think my little brother's doing this. I think you could do that. Maybe you could work up to doing that. Like, or you could run away from it and say, no, I don't want to. That sounds scary. Or what? I don't know.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Because, yeah, there are some things that, yeah, I guess in there we were also saying that's partially the reason why you had not done the guitar. Because it's a lot. It's a lot to like, but like working out, it's like, I'm not going to try to be on a fucking IFBB stage, but it's like being someone who works out is like a thing in and of itself. To like push yourself.
Yeah.
Just like to be the person who pushes himself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. You need that.
I think that's like the baseline. You gotta be pushing yourself in something.
Yeah.
I think the gym, the physical, doing something physical, like riding your bike or whatever the fuck it is, mountain climbing.
Yeah. It's similar to the energy exchange of like, I'm doing this, like I'm putting workout, I'm putting something out for it. Like,
part of me is all in.
Yeah, I'm sacrificing for it. And that's bringing back result. Like, that's one equation we have worked out. Like, it's not science. It is. There's a science to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is science, but ultimately, it's like you putting in work and then seeing result is like that happens. That is part of life.
Yeah, and that's like I think Jordan Peterson would refer to that as like the cornerstone of positive emotion. So if you don't have any of that going on in your life, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Or if your habits are more negative and you want to like reclude your vision of that to yourself, it's like, it's good to have some positives, because sometimes you are sacrificing yourself to something that's bad for you. And then you probably don't want to like look at that too much. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to do it and keep it in the closet and hide it from yourself.
Yeah.
But if you have some good ones, you can build the positive emotion, which is like, I'm sacrificing for a good thing and good returns to me. Like, this is, like you said, the cornerstone for positive emotion. Like, you get dopamine. It's like, I guess you get dopamine from bad stuff too, but like, it's not helping you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think specifically, hey, I was talking about the feeling of like progression towards something.
Yeah.
That's where all the positive emotion comes from.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is. That walk, that climb.
That's tight.
That's it.
It's tight that we have that. Life calls you to those.
Yeah.
Like, some people probably never thought they'd be like a surfer. And then they get called to, like, you know, go out into the ocean. I don't know what the fucking surfing represents to them in that moment in their life, but like adapting to a thing and like taking on a challenge and like becoming good at something. It's arbitrary what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why wax on, wax off makes sense to like everybody. It applies to like everything. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like life constantly gives you like some kind of hierarchy to have to climb, some kind of skill to have to learn amongst other people who know that skill, you know?
Yeah.
Like, life's kind of organized like that.
Yeah.
It also like makes
it's individualized too.
It matures people.
Yeah, I think it's all, my personal belief, it's all tailor made for you. It's your story, your ultimate like best possible version story is out there. It's out there. We're trying to get there. One day at a time. Any moment, you can do it at any moment. Just trying to decide to be that best version of yourself and try to find that story. But we're all attracted to different things, like being a surfer, or being a chef, or being in martial arts, or being in video games, or whatever calls you in this life thing that's going on, that we're interacting with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It seeks you out.
Uh,
It calls to you. Like you don't have to be too imaginative to figure out what you'd want to do. In my opinion, like I think you kind of know. You know what I'm saying? And then
mm-hmm.
life will like not. I don't think you have to look suit like knock and the door and the door shall be opened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, seek and you'll find it.
Yeah. Like you don't have to. It's not impossible. Is what I'm trying to say. It's
Yes.
gonna take like the optimal level of discomfort to allow you access into that place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
Like
written for you.
life do be like that, bro. For
Yes.
real. It's like
Yes.
that's the art side. That's what movies and that's the science of literature is telling you that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah, you can't quite quantify it in a formula or like with numbers
So
or
I'll give you testimonials.
yeah. So it's all just situations, the dramatization
Mm,
of all this. What's
mm,
going on here? What's important here? What's happening?
yeah.
What's true?
For
It's like
me,
love
the
wins. That's like okay, that's it.
reload the shotgun after that one, bro. Body down. Like, that's that'll end a lot of arguments, bro. Like a lot of philosophical arguments is like,
Mhm.
oh, but like love wins. So like your perspective, your argument, your actions, your deciding factors are coming from a place of like, I mean, if it the opposite of love is basically like a demonic force, it's evil. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's like that's selfishness or greed or like hatred or revenge or lust or like
Yeah,
all.
the conscious effort of or like yeah, trying to like inflict pain or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Hmm.
To do harm,
Yeah,
to take away
to be
from.
malicious,
Yeah, yeah. More
the
words.
thief.
Yeah, more definitions.
Hmm.
To kill joy,
Yeah.
to like want to take happiness, to whatever goodness is, to like oppose that. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Whatever the right thing is to do, to lobby for the wrong thing to do at your own personal gain.
180 degrees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. And it's hard because it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it necessarily seems like that all the time. It's not so obvious that someone's like a fucking supervillain. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's why we like dramatization because then it becomes more obvious who the bad guy is and who the good guy is and what they represent and what kind of struggles they go through. And so people, I think it, yeah, because I feel like I can feel the energy when you're just like one step away from like just committing to being whatever you want to be. Like I'm gonna start going to the gym every day and it starts today. And it's like deciding and like jumping off the plunge and being like, today I'm working out hard and then tomorrow I'll, put back on the fucking whatever you have to do to
Mm.
to address this thing. But like that feeling of like you're about to snap forward. You know what I'm saying? Something's got to give, and it's my my will to not do it is going to be the thing that's going to give because
Hmm.
I want it so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
remember what that feels like when I'm thinking about like all this energy back in the day early in the weight
Hmm.
room.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I just listen to the voice in my head. Like you can ignore it. Some people drink it away. Some people smoke it away. Some people aren't smoking for that at all. Like I smoke recreationally, you know what I'm saying? Because it's
Hmm.
like chill. But I think people use a lot of drugs and alcohol and media
Okay.
to. That's what I'm saying. You could drink and it's chill. Like sometimes, like
Uh,
you drink and life gets to like a sparkle to it, like a little dazzle. Like
yeah, I was
fucking.
thinking about that the other day, or it's like how everyone's got a mountain to climb. You know,
Mm,
everyone's story is tailor made for them. Like your mountain is your mountain. Like for me, like fasting from alcohol is like not hard to do, like at all. Like I could like it's nothing to me. Or like like smoking cigarettes. Like I have no desire to smoke a cigarette. Like none. Like it's not. I can't fast that. You know what I'm saying?
true. Wouldn't be a fast.
Yeah. It's like okay. It's like it's too easy. But everyone has their own mountain to climb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You have your own story you're trying to conquer. Thing games you're trying to win. Everyone has their own games they're trying to win.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good though.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's what creates the asteroid belts and the other things around you. Is other people have other shit going
Dealing
on.
with their own shit or dealing with
Yeah.
the games and like how their reaction to the games they're playing.
Yep. And you have to have some room for that because what life
Yeah.
is that happening like an MMORPG. You know what I'm saying? It's like
We're all just like stars flying through this like
Yeah,
Sometimes there's some collisions, bro, and we fly through asteroid fields and shit.
for real. But your trajectory is your trajectory. Like, I'm not saying you have ultimate control because, like, chaos
Definitely
happens.
don't.
No.
Yes, 100%.
And chaos, not in the sense of, like, I mean, an antidote to chaos is almost defined as, like, you can do things to stop chaos from, like, hurting you. But, like, not so much. Just sometimes crazy shit happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could be the best prepared.
Yeah.
Best prepared is like all you can really hope to be, and it's like put your trust into a different higher power.
Yeah.
It's like I have the control amount that I have been given at this level of consciousness. I'm gonna take all of that responsibility for all of that. But then like that's like all I can do. That's it. It's like the max out. We max out our capacity of maxing out our capacity. But like that's all you can do. And there's so much more than like that. That's just you. And there's so much more than you out there that you're dealing with or that you're surrounded by. You know?
Yeah.
The craziness of like your neighbors and like everyone has their own fucking crazy story going on. And you're just like surrounded by all these crazy stories. And yeah, like the collisions in the asteroid fields are like the dangerous, chaotic, crazy shit that happens. Like someone hits your car, or someone breaks your window, or someone fucking whatever, you get sick, or someone you love gets sick, or some crazy shit's going on.
Yeah.
It's like all of us just dealing with all of us.
Yeah.
And we only have so much control.
So true.
So there is like I don't know, I think you kind of have to have faith in something else. Or like that something else is going to like help, maybe like not help you out, I guess, with that chaotic force, or like,
Yeah, well, the universe is
give it
naturally
purpose.
good to you. So maybe that's like the balance of that is that like the universe is naturally trending you upward. It's naturally trying to nurture you. I think like in my opinion, like God's naturally trying to like take care of his child, and like the end result of that, or like the balance of that through your experience is like chaotic stuff happens, and it creates like negative circumstance for you to have a more full understanding of the spectrum of what it feels like to really be on Earth.
To be a human.
Yeah, to be a human.
Yeah, to max out to max you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw Alex Hormozy talking about like if God wanted to make you strong, or wanted to make you like resilient or tough or whatever, brazen, be fucking hard, start. Like it wouldn't be an easy life, dog. Like yeah, it'd be hard.
Yeah, facts.
Because this shit's crazy out here.
It really is.
You gotta be hard.
All of these mountains are hard to climb. You have to be like strong. For real. Or you're not gonna be able to climb the mountains that you truly want to climb. Like, I don't know if everybody is ambitious as me. I think everybody at some level wants like what they would deem to be an ideal life.
Yeah, I think we're pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
We're pretty ambitious, but I think it's good to have like a crazy level of ambition in some capacity, at least tied into your imagination. It's like kind of like go hand in hand. It's like, what do you see? Trying to max out what you see and what you see for yourself, like in your own personal vision of like your maximum written out story. It's like, what do you see on those pages or whatever,
Yeah.
So we're trying to max out that story, but I think everyone should be at least a little ambitious, and because like we're trying to make lots of money doing this podcast and music stuff.
Yeah, I really am trying to max mine out. So the maximum.
I'm trying to max that shit out.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that
no limit.
Nobody like. If I just asked you to define an ideal life, an ideal fantasy life, I don't think people would necessarily like downgrade what their ideal was if I asked it to them in that sense. If I asked them like, what do you think you can get done in this lifetime? The list might be like different than what if they were living an ideal like fantasy life, what would you do? What's your like? And then I think that there's like a disconnect there between like you could pursue your ideals instead of like negotiating with yourself and saying like, this is what I think I could have for me in this life. Like I wish I could run a marathon, but like in reality, I'm really just gonna power walk in the mornings because like even jogging's hard on my knees. It's like, so you really wanted to run a marathon and your knee joints hurt, like I think you could address that as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not. Maybe it is outside of your hands, but like rarely it is outside of your hands.
Yeah, or at least there's something you could do. Some effort you could put forth, maybe.
But we definitely personally want to max it out. We're like define the ideal life, and we haven't negotiated very far away from that. You know what I'm
Yeah, I want
saying?
that thing.
Yeah,
I want that part.
almost just to prove we could all have it. That's kind of like,
Yeah.
if I have any altruism in me, it probably stems from that place. That a lot of my life I always felt like was like I just wanted to show other people around me that they could also have what they wanted if they found the right sacrifices to make and were disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what drove me a lot was,
They rain dance their way there.
yeah, like with my parents, like I said, I was like, you guys could have this like thing that's eluding you and hurting you. Like you could have it. You could watch. Like I'm gonna show you guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way with like our career almost. I'm like, no, you guys could have like a better than an office job. You guys could have like a life of stardom almost if you like really pursued it, really gave your all to it, really committed to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, have to be willing to sacrifice for it. And also have that outside faith. That's like something else is controlling the story, and you're just doing your best to maximize your contribution, so that the story will meet you halfway and life will treat you like reciprocally.
Yes.
It's a fucking, it's like a good back and forth.
Yes.
And you're able to see those moments, or maybe those moments become more clear or more obvious to you whenever it's like a movie like or like a story-esque moment that happens in front of you. I think more of those will happen in front of you, and you get better at identifying them if you're like trying to work with life in that reciprocity. It's like I gave my best and my all, and life gives me best and all. And it's just like positive energy, just like for the betterment. Not even, and yeah, I guess it has to. Maybe it doesn't have to, but I think we were alluding to this earlier, because like if you're just trying to like be better than other people, I think it's like always it's only with yourself, like. But if you're trying to put that energy out there to beat like tangible like life, or like trying to be the best, or trying to like conquer the mountain, or like physically in the tangible, that energy isn't quite the reciprocity behind that one's not quite as high, or maybe not quite high of a vibration,
For sure.
right? I think it's kind of like
And it
altruism, or what that word even is kind of like referring to.
a higher good, a higher vibration, a frequency of. I feel you.
Yeah, it's like truly wanting better just for the sake of like having things be better, because like time is passing regardless. So it's like better or worse. It's like those are your only options, and if you don't choose better, it's worse.
Yeah, better for better's sake.
Worse is just happening.
Yeah, true.
All you gotta do is nothing. And
For
things
worse
just
to
getting
happen.
worse.
Yeah, true.
It takes all of you to like make it not be worse, and to do that just for the sake of not being worse, or like that highest intention, that pure energy output of like the best, not trying to. I guess I don't know. I was thinking about Michael Jordan being the best.
Yeah. Go on.
I don't know. But I think life will give you that if you're giving out good energy and trying to better your story for the sake of your own story.
Yeah. That's like the winner, I think. Like, sometimes the universe rewards powerful energy, and powerful energy doesn't necessarily have to come from like a holy place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so, but I think ultimately, like when it comes down to like let's say like the game of, like in basketball, it's really easy to define because it's like points that decide a game.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like good versus evil is happening metaphorically and metaphysically throughout your everyday life, and it's going to come to like a deciding factor whether one way thing like breaks this way or breaks that way, I think like the good versus evil points, like ultimately like love wins, good wins. Like it's a higher energy, even if this energy is like really powerful and it's like affecting the physics of what's happening in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the good energy is like, even if it's like 99 to 97, like the good guy always wins. You know what I'm saying? Like the person with the truest intent, even if it's like a child, or like Katniss Everdeen is an example of like almost like a child woman that like her truest intent, like she ended up killing all of the adversaries. You know what I'm saying? And being like a martyr and a sacrifice and like almost like a Christ-like figure, because that's like the most holy energy, you know?
Yeah.
But all that to say, I think that's a metaphor for like the bad won't win. Like it might be powerful. There might be like a Hitler for real.
Because, dark times, yeah.
Tyrannical empires.
Yeah, fuck around, bro.
Yeah.
For real.
But they don't win.
It won't last. It won't last. Truth and love win every time.
Yeah, dude.
This is the way of the world. How every story goes. So try to figure out how that works for you. If you're aligned with truth and love, I guess. Like truly.
Yeah.
Right.
And just, yeah. It's a mix of like doing your best too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you really got to be doing your best. Like how do you explain Jay-Z?
Mm-hmm.
Because he did a
Mm.
lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Define bad.
What was this? Yeah. I was trying to think of a line where he references using a stove and nothing came to mind off the rip, but
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Mossing me, streets is my artery. Bane of my existence, I'm the Gotham City heartbeat. Yeah, that song's kind of about all that. I feel like his he just grew up in an
Jesus
area.
turned water to wine for hope and just took a stove.
There you go. That's a really good one. God is an amazing song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the song "Marcy Me" kind of encapsulates like he was just from a place where like shit was just going down. He was just doing his best. You know what I'm saying? It's like hard to
Your heart's in the right place. Like we were talking about earlier.
right, true
Yeah.
intent, like really trying to do right by him and his mom, and you
Yeah,
know,
right.
like what are you supposed to? Just some people, there are some environments where like what you would deem to be like bad behavior is more like normalized and regular, and if you're just like doing your best, and also survival is another thing. Like you don't in the jungle, you don't like.
Yeah, them motherfuckers living in the Amazon right now.
Yeah, bro.
What are they doing?
I'm not.
What's your Amazon life like?
No clue.
Well, no fucking idea over here.
And I was just talking about nature. I wasn't trying to say like, poor communities are like the jungle per se or anything like that. But I was just saying like in nature, like if you see a
Yeah,
honey
we're all
badger,
living somewhere.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And it's all it's just life's playing
It's
out.
all arbitrary. You don't really get to choose. To a degree, you do.
Yeah,
But definitely whenever you're born, you don't. Like, you're just fucking born.
not at all.
Wherever the hell you're born.
And you get born into a lot of shit that you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for any of that.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, you're just in there. So I think that's what Jay-Z tried to explain, where he's like, I was doing that shit, but like, he turned it into a rose, or got it smelling like a rose. I forget how it goes, but
Turn the cocaine into champagne.
yeah, exactly, bro. Like he flipped
No, he's
it.
pushing Ace of Spades.
So if I ask how I define Jay-Z, how I make sense of Jay-Z, it's like he came to a point where he could like step away from the stuff and have a more legit legalized business and like flip his situation around. And he did it. And some people get to that point where they could flip their situation for the better and they like don't do it. They shy away from that or whatever, like the basically demonic forces keeping them away from aligning themselves with good. Whatever it's like greed or revenge or jealousy or like self-absorption, you know what I'm saying, like whatever the fuck you have going on, that if you fall to that, then like you'll lose your opportunity to. I don't think Jay-Z would be Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying. I don't think he would have become like legendary, but the story of him isn't that, the story's like he flipped it, even though like negative situation, true intent, as soon as he found a way to break good, he broke good. And so I think that there's something to be said for that. Like, that'll work out for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I think so. I think it's worth
You
it.
think Jay-Z's happy?
I would think yes.
Right.
I would lean yes.
I lean yes. I guess you don't know anybody, truly, but
yes. Yeah. Fucking. Hopefully get to meet Jay-Z. That'd be tight. You already dapped him up one time.
I really hope that was like foreshadowing.
One of the best days of life. Yeah, come on, baby.
Foreshadow for me.
Foreshadow echoes. Come on.
Yeah, bro. Kanye touched us that day too.
Yeah, we dapped up Kanye. You dapped up Jay-Z like a homie he hadn't seen in a minute.
What's up, bro? So cool, bro. His hands were fucking. He had man's hands. His hands were leathery, bro.
Leather.
Like, that man works. It's crazy.
We're just kids, bro.
Just a young kid, bro.
Just a young buck.
It's crazy how like, yeah, man. A lot of times, like,
That was great.
the people that I would listen to or give my money to or give my musical currency, whatever that would be, like my views and listens.
Yeah.
A lot
Your
of times,
fanhood.
yeah. A lot of times, those people made a fan out of me when I was like 15, a long time ago. Like Big Sean and Drake,
Childish
Gambino. Fucking, they made a fan of me like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then that's the people that I give the most views and the most listens to. Because, like, I guess it's like that for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you're a
those
fan of what you're a fan
formative
of.
years, bro.
Yeah.
Those are, my mom, and I'm sure a lot of people's parents still listen to the music that they were listening to in high school.
It's crazy.
Right? It's like, I think it's a very common thing. What the fuck?
It's weird, right?
Everybody does that.
Maybe
That's
something in our taste bud
strange.
changes.
Mhm.
Because I think that's what
That's
good
true.
is, you
Sorry,
know?
what were you saying?
Well, just like I think that's what good is.
Uh-huh.
But now I don't have the ability to hear
Oh,
something
I
new
see. I see.
and
Yeah, yeah.
think that's what good is. It's
Mm.
like I had a phase of picking out what I thought good was, and now you're either close to that or not.
Yeah, what are you standing on? You're kind of standing on it. I can't unstand on this. I'm already standing on
I thought this was good for 20 years.
it.
I just think it's bad now. Like no, I've adapted everything
My
to
foundation.
it. Right?
The foundation of your personality, right? What kind of music are you into? You kind of develop that when you're that age. I guess you kind of go through phases, right? You can,
For sure.
for sure. But I guess you wind up back to listening to it in high school. How often is it that someone listens to like just like completely different genre? Like, oh yeah, in high school I listened to this for like 4 or 5, 6 years, but now I listen to this, and it's like it's different.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe you do get introduced to new things later on.
Yeah.
You might pick them up, but I think you always have that foundation that you built in those formative years.
Right. Maybe you like this style of jazz because you liked whatever that was back then. Or
Hmm.
you like more rock sounding. You're into country music now, but you like it because of the stuff that sounds like rock and roll about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you still
Hmm.
get like the imprint of your influence from your core foundation influence.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you get to undo that.
Yeah.
Not very easily. I don't know. Maybe if you come back, take some super mega multivitamins.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, that was fucked.
Like I see a lot of things through the context of sports because that's like at a young age is I was using that to view life a lot, I guess. So it's just like a nice translation. Like working out at sports translates to life really easily for me, and it's just easy for me to use that as a translative device for myself. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just like hard work paying off, or like, oh yeah, he's got good defense, or like he's a dirty player, or like it's just really easy to just like what's happening in front of me. Oh, that's like this in sports because I know what that is, but I don't necessarily know what this is, and I think that that's
Hmm.
like what's music? Music should sound like what it sounded like to me. And what does it sound like now? And it's just like hard to get rid of that translative piece that you used to use to like help you identify the world with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I listen to like Jack Harlow for the most part, he's came to me later in life and I'm a fan of his work. But it also sounds like Big Sean. He literally has Drake on features and stuff like that. So it's not like a different music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's different enough, but not too different.
Yeah. That's kind of like
Optimal different.
yeah. I think that's maybe how taste
Expands
like
a
you're
little bit.
playing to that. That's part of what makes Drake so good is he sounds optimally like what's been going on, but optimally new enough that he can continue to ascend.
Hmm.
He can gain fans into his fanhood.
Yeah, he's got a wide enough range and genre differences to make his sound different, but new, but the same
Yeah,
or similar enough.
yeah,
It's still good, but different. That's fucking wild.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think
He's
you always have that influence,
yeah,
or during your formative years, whatever that means. Like I think you kind of, I guess yeah. Whenever you're able to like identify yourself, whenever you're a kid, you're just a kid. You're kind of just kidding it up, just being a little child, a little baby child. You know what you're doing.
sure.
You just kind of just doing whatever you want to do. But then, like, I guess whenever you start going to school, the later years in school, like middle school, high school, some formative years. Some
Yeah,
formative years.
you gotta fucking decide who you are.
Yeah, you gotta create this fucking thing you're responsible for.
Or you can avoid it, but like
Uh-huh.
that has consequences now
Yeah.
because now you're in a social construct,
Mm-hmm.
and kids are vicious and it's a crazy structure.
Yeah.
Schools are crazy.
People are crazy. People are vicious. It's like high school is like life, and life is like high school. It's not quite the same. But there's the social piece.
Yeah, it's the first
There's
social
fucking
structure.
people out here, man. Huh?
Yeah.
There's fucking people going on.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
The
Who
wor-
are you?
I think school's so crazy
You gotta
because
like to define that.
they don't have none of them have it figured out.
No one ever. You never know that until you get older. You're like, oh fuck, you're all just people. I thought they were like adults and kids, but no, you're just fucking grown kids.
It's so
You
true.
do get to be an adult eventually when you like mature and reach that perspective of like growth, and you're like, oh, I'm different now than I used to be.
Yeah.
I see that. I can see how that looks. I can see how I used to be. Some
And
sort
why-
of increase
why
in
I used to
awareness.
be
Whatever the
that.
fuck that is. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the whole thing over and over, or like through and through. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that
Well, just kids, man.
yeah,
They're just
sure.
kids. but you build something. You build the prototype. I think is what I'm trying to say. Like those formative years,
Mm,
it's like a life project.
mm.
You know,
Yeah. What do I want to what do I want
like
to
the
make here?
universe is giving us, yeah, like a project to turn in by the age of 18 or some shit. And we got to give it something. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But it's just a prototype. We don't know what the fuck they're going. But then eventually, like, you update the model and update the model and update the model once you get more information and create a different one. You're like, oh yeah, this model's lit, dog.
That is true, right?
I'm in the wide body big block.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to make the prototype. You have to like decide it's worth the work to get to that ideal state and then get there and be like, what am I missing? What am I lacking? Like, oh, this wasn't good. I wanted this for the wrong reason. I'm gonna have to like adjust. You do those like science projects, right? And then like
Yeah.
you get it's just like another prototype like you were talking about. And you just
Mhm.
start popping those out until you're like, this motherfucker's got some room.
This boy's got some stats.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
fucking tight, bro. I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah, there's something's going on for sure. But you definitely have some sort of that first prototype of who you are, or like that music you listen to, whatever you like in high school. I think those years are very. I think it's such a super common thing.
Maybe
Super
that's,
common thing.
maybe
For
that's when yourself becomes
you like those
aware to
movies,
you.
you like that type of whatever. It's like imprinted into you. You can grow past it, of course, and change for the better.
True. I think that
But you'll be changing from that thing, you know.
yeah, it's a block. Like you're putting in blocks every season.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you can like edit and pull stuff out, but a lot of stuff like you can't really pull out your childhood in the sense where like your childhood is your childhood, you know? If
Yeah.
that did like good or bad things to you, like that's yours to cope with forever. Like you can manage it better. And if it's like a jagged, unstacked, like crooked block that's hard to stack on, you can like straighten it out a little bit, but it's still gonna be the same block, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you get more control over the blocks that you're stacking up, as long as you take control of it, which is dope.
Fucking yeah. Hell yeah.
Man, I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, I think that's true. You have to. We're building something here. You're building your life, your story. You're building your story. You're writing your story.
Yeah,
You can't like unwrite things. You can like make sense of them,
yeah,
right? Maybe dissect them, or maybe you can change things if you like just misperceive something or gain new information that changed your perspective of like how you used to view something.
yeah,
You can go back and like kind of edit. We're all still creating our story as we're living it. It's
yeah,
like done in real time. So it's like with the block metaphor, I like that too, because it's like it's like Tetris. Like you have to stack them as they're coming down, bro. It's like they're coming down,
yeah,
regardless of if you're gonna stack them or not. Like
That's
you're
true.
just gonna,
yeah.
you're just gonna like not be doing very well in the game if you're not actively trying to move them and place them as it's happening. Because time is
Every day.
just going.
It's crazy. It wouldn't take very long for that shit to crash
Yeah.
if you're not managing it well
Mm-hmm. Things are getting worse all the time.
all the time.
That's a default. So you have to like put energy and effort in for that to not happen.
Yeah,
Even though ultimately you're gonna die.
yeah. We
So
talk
it's like,
like
it's worth it.
super worth it. It's not that difficult either. Like we're
That's all
talking
there is to do here.
like philosophically, it sounds like it's a whole thing, right? Because it's like we spent like almost an hour talking about the philosophy of it, right? Like actionably, it's just like 3 or 4 or 5 things you have to do every day. Having like a good attitude and trying your best to like do the right thing all the time. You usually like do 3, 4 things every day, like work out and like go to the job and then like, you know, study and then go to sleep. Like that's only like 3 or 4 things you got to do. But to do it the right way with good intention every day, like that's kind of like I think how you build like that positive energy, like that. How close do you get to altruism for yourself? Like, how much do you sacrifice? Like, where do your sacrifices fall short? When it's like, is it for selfish reasons or like it all plays out in the metaphysics? Like, you won't get as good a workout, or like you won't know the information as well, and you'll get a lower test grade. Like, anytime you try to like quantify where you're at with it, if you're not making the proper sacrifices, you're not gonna be like higher or lower than where you want to be, you know.
Hmm.
But like actually, it's just a day by day. You just have like 24 hours, and you get to sleep for 8 of those. You just gotta
Yeah.
go do your best for this day, check out, and then come back in the next day, do your best that day, check out. Like that makes it like doable for me, because it's a lot to put in 10,000 hours. If it's gonna take months and years for me to like attain mastery, It's like,
Yeah.
what is one supposed to do on their way to mastery with and not fucking peel their eyes out while they're watching paint dry? Like, it's like, what do you do there? It's like, just one day at a time. Do your best.
One day at a time. That's all it is. That's all you get. And it's, yeah, we have to sleep. Like, what the hell? Why is that? Why do we have to sleep?
I think it's like a equalizer. It's like a balance. It's like some people would go fucking ham if they didn't have to sleep. They would be going crazy. Like, could you imagine Nikola Tesla or
Yeah. Some fucking crazy scientists, Einstein and shit. They didn't have to sleep.
Yeah.
But I guess like because I try to imagine that in my head, but like I just know that no sleep equals like just downfall and downtrend. But like in a world where you don't have to sleep, you would just be late all the time, or what?
yeah, like,
ready to fucking go.
Yeah, probably
like no caffeine needed whatsoever, because like caffeine is just to make you like not fall asleep or like to give you an increase in energy.
Let's say like when you're tired, you would just
what
like
the fuck is that?
do you ever like want to take a nap but you don't, and you kind of come back to your regularized energy? It'd probably be like that.
Or you could fall into the nap.
Yeah.
You could like fall asleep. You're just like, woo!
Not in that world. But yeah, I did that yesterday. I was so tired, bro. And I lay down on the bed with like, I'm just like sideways on the bed, like just like flop down for a second.
Yeah.
With all the blankets on and everything. And I was just like, boom, gone. And yeah, you fall into. I woke up and I was like, get me out of there.
At this level of consciousness, and then you're just like, woo.
It's crazy.
You go somewhere. You go to some sort of subconscious realm, or the fucking some crazy shit that's going on. Who really knows what's going on with that?
I don't know.
But yeah, could you imagine if you didn't have to sleep? How much more shit would we get done? But I don't know. Why? But why?
At what cost?
Why do I need to sleep? But it feels good to sleep too, right? It feels good to like wake up rested and you're like, oh fuck, that was nice.
It's satiating. Yeah. It's like a good meal.
Mm-hmm.
Like for your brain and body, you know?
Yeah, maybe that's like like making sure that we eat for our body, but it's like eating for our
brain,
our awareness.
Yeah, awareness is good.
Our awareness needs to get charged up, because if you're sleepy, your awareness is like, you're gonna lose it. You're not gonna be very aware at all. You're gonna be asleep.
It's like that.
So much battery. So much awareness battery.
It's like obvious to me how much I lose based on how much lack of sleep I got or how much I'm not eating, because I know what peak performance feels like, and you check in like a lot of boxes every day, and then as soon as you're like off of peak performance because I was up till 3 and 4 in the morning last night, then you fucking like see yourself missing boxes, and you're like, it's just obvious to me, like you're saying, like you're not as aware, you know what I'm saying, you're not as locked in, you're not as energized, you're not as like fully there. And if you're gonna have a high performance job, you're gonna have to like fucking be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fully aware and present.
So you need sleep.
Yeah,
it's like,
but why? Right?
Maybe because it's a safe.
That's just what God did. He just made a world where we needed sleep. I'm just trying to figure out like, where's that come into play? Like, why would we need to not be awake anymore? You know? Or to not be at this level of consciousness. Maybe we need to go back to source or whatever. You know, we need to recharge at source, because we're fucking obviously can't do this forever. Like if you go sleep deprived, like you will. I'm sure there's been terrible experiments have been ran on this premise, and I forget what the results were, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty terrifying.
Yeah, you die at some point.
Yeah, you like kill yourself or some shit, or like you go crazy.
Yeah, you do definitely.
You go absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Some sort of Russian experiments when motherfuckers are awake for like 100, 200 hours.
They just go cracked.
They going crazy. They go cracked.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Maybe that's like the default, where it's like cracked beans, and then we need to go back to source to like recharge.
Yeah, it could be. Just like fucking neurotic craziness going on. We become the chaos.
We're fucking animals. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Crazy, chaotic animals.
What animates us out of that? Whatever we're going to get when we sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. We bring some of that back.
Where does that come from? Yeah. Or what is it? We're not crazy when we wake up. I guess we wake up rested. And yeah, you can definitely feel it if you've been not sleeping very well over a course of time. It takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
For sure. So what the fuck what are we getting? Rejuvenation, like pure like recovery?
That's what I think it
Mental
is.
recovery?
Your brain and your body needs it.
Spurt. Yeah, and your body like physically needs it and produces like good shit for you whenever you sleep and get deep sleep.
Right.
Yeah, helps you maintain your immunity and grow and shit and recover.
Yeah, absolute requirement.
Yeah, but why?
Do you have any other hypotheses?
No, I think that was one that I developed a little bit ago, just like the coming to source. I'm not sure what that means exactly.
It could be even like aliens. It could be like aliens came to this planet and sent something through a different dimension to make us more civilized beings. And like they have to give us that, or we become just like Neanderthals, you know what I'm saying? Like tribalistic and brutal and savage. And uh, like we could be going to sleep to go get some of that freaking whatever it is, that different dimension stuff, and bring it back into this thing you animate. You know what I'm saying?
Your awareness, yeah, leaves and goes somewhere and just brings it right back to you. You're like, thank God I got that. Feel much better. I can handle the day. You can make it work for a day or two, but I guess if you go for like a span, it's like it's taxing.
It's super taxing.
Super taxing.
You ever been falling asleep at work? That's like the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, when you're driving.
Oh my gosh.
That's like one of this. That's more scary than drunk driving for real.
Yeah, seriously.
That shit is wild.
Because it gets bad. If you're like really falling asleep, you're like,
like slapping yourself and shit. You're like,
wake the fuck up. Yes, yo.
I've been there, dog, for real.
Roll down the windows till it's cold. Crank up the heater till it's hot. Run it till it's cold. Just back and forth. Just riding the opposite feeling of what you have.
A fucking clove.
The cigarettes will help the most. That'll fucking fix it for
keep
sure.
You going. Keep you, those nootropics keep you awake.
Yeah, it's like shocking how much a nootropic will keep you awake.
Keep you pushing.
I remember driving back from Minnesota. And I was just like an hour and a half to go. I'm just like, come on.
No.
Come on, you can do it. And I just like stopped at a gas station and they fucking, I mean, it's like out in the boonies. So like, I just get a fucking black and mild and a fucking cup of like black coffee. There's like powdered creamer in there and powdered sugar. And I'm just like, man, this sucks. But I need something so bad, dude. And then I was just cooking on that, dying. But I freaking got back and I was just like, oh man, that was such a drive. I'm literally about to pass out.
Yeah, about to have my awareness taken away from me.
Yeah, I can't hold this thing up anymore.
You're on probation. Give me that shit. Yeah, for real. Strange. It's a strange thing. Strange as hell because it is truly just so restorative, like pure. Just pure. It's fucking pure, bruh.
It is. There's no. You can't.
It's unbiased.
Yeah.
Right?
Sleep's just good, dude.
It's like air. It's fucking air, dude. And sleeping. Thank God for that. Just in this weird game that he made, or whatever, in this experience of human form, at this level of consciousness, awareness.
Because
it's just part of the game. We all fucking play it. we all have to go to sleep. You gotta sleep and shit. It's a big part of life. And it plays into everything else you do. For real. And there's that weird inclination at the end of the night. It's like Victoria will have it sometimes. Like she won't even like tell me she's like passing out. She'll just like pass out on me. like you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, are you still awake? She's like, yes, I'm awake. And then a minute or two later, she's like, nope.
Just out.
Gone. I was like, but I know what that is because I deal with that. Or like whenever you come home from work, there's like that feeling of like I don't want to like wind down. I remember feeling that in high school, of like I would be asleep or not asleep. I'd be sleepy like in the morning after I wake up. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I need to go to sleep earlier tonight. Yeah. The next night rolls around, I did not go to sleep any earlier. Not any earlier at all, dog. It was like, it gets to that point, it's like 10:30. I'm like, I go to sleep now. But I'm like, I don't wanna.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what that's like.
I don't wanna.
I want
to watch another episode of Family Guy.
Come on, bro. Preach to the choir.
Right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It gets bad.
I want to enjoy my awareness.
Yeah.
I love this awareness. I get to be awake.
And I'm free.
And free.
Yeah.
I'm obligationless.
Oh, God.
And awake. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta sacrifice that. Fuck you.
That's why people don't try their hardest and commit to shit. So that's one of the reasons, is because that thing feels great. Like, what the fuck do you call that? Just fucking willy-nilly doing whatever you want.
Being on Pleasure Island.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And video games make it tough in high school because you're like, one more game. One more game.
Yep.
I gotta play
Yep.
one more game. It's like 2 hours later, bro. On the day that you said you were gonna go to sleep early, and I'm like reading the Bible, like he doth what he hate. It's so true. It's so true. I do what I hate.
Wake up the next morning, I'm just like, fuck.
Yep.
I feel terrible.
That's the thing, though.
3:45 rolls around, I'm fucking dying. I was like, oh please, I need to get out of here. Then if you have practice after that, like, oh fuck me, bro. You know, practice after school? Or practice before school, shit. Waking up super early for that shit.
That was the worst.
So yeah, you're extra fucked.
Yeah, dude.
But at least it's over. After school practice was a bitch when you're that tired. But yeah, there's that weird inclination to want to hold on to this awareness thing that we got. That freedom too, I guess, is also another thing of it. If you don't have to like do anything particularly, you're kind of just chilling, you have your own free time. You finally have free time at the end of the day, like one little pocket of like doing a whole bunch of shit that you have to do every day.
Bruh.
Then you're done with all that, and you're like, oh yes, my little pocket of me. My pocket of me, and it's closing. No!
Don't let it go. Don't let it go. I can call in tomorrow. They don't need me.
20 minutes. I get 30 minutes of another show. I can do one more show. One more episode.
Dude, you'll start telling yourself all sorts of shit to keep that pocket alive a little bit longer. I've watched people keep that pocket alive for 3 or 4 days. It's sweet. It's a sweet little thing. Sometimes you need it. That's another thing I've realized. If you deny yourself that pocket for too long, it's almost like denying yourself of sleep. You start acting crazy, and you're not as tapped into what your best self would be, because like you need to like reconnect with yourself. You need to spend some of that leisure time. That's the word I'm looking for.
Just be with you. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever leisure is to you.
Just chilling. Whatever you want to do.
You need some, but that gets abused real quick.
Yes. It's a slippery slope.
That one's slick.
Slick and slippery slopes.
It's tough, bro.
Watch out.
And if you're out of balance, that's another thing too. Like if you're a month out of balance, then you get to that day where you're gonna have some, and you maybe take a lot. You take a little bit, and you're like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? Let me play some Madden. Holy shit! They got Ultimate Team. This is sick. It's like 12 hours and $100 later, you realize like you made a bad choice. Now you're gonna go grind for 2 months without touching the pocket. It's like not good either, though. You know what I'm saying? But you get like imbalance. You know what I'm saying? You're learning like wrong lessons.
Golly, shit gets deep.
Yeah, it's a lot to fucking digest. I think you grab more and more cornerstones as you like get wiser, you know what I'm saying? And you piece together what it means to have the right energy that kind of navigates you through all things.
Your optimal story.
You can kind of just lean towards that kind of decision making and that kind of behavior, and it's usually more close to the right thing to do, so things play out well. Hopefully. But yeah, I'm spending years hating myself when I wake up. It's like I'm such a son of a bitch. God damn it.
Son of a bitch.
I'm the worst.
I fucked myself. Yeah, you wake up, you're like, man, fuck me.
Yeah, dude. And you don't know when you're a kid, really. You don't know what the punishment of staying up till 4 a.m. is. You're just like gambling with house money, bro. You're like, I'll be fine. You don't even know.
Good.
Yeah, nah, dog. Yeah, you learn quick, but it's just crazy because at first you're just like I'm usually pretty willing to sacrifice my health for the experience. Like I'll stay up all night driving to College Station at night. Fuck it. I'll drive back in the morning for school. It'll be good. It'll be a good story.
I'll be good.
Yeah. I'll be good. Yeah.
I'm good.
Just throwing that out there all the time. Like
I'm good, dog. I don't know about y'all, but this guy, he's good. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, but there was times, surprisingly enough, where I wasn't good.
Yeah.
I thought I was good.
It's like, give me that awareness. Give me that shit.
It's crazy, bro.
Wild. Oh man. What's that, man? You wanna sign out for the lovely people?
Yeah, we can get out of here. I was trying to think, is there anything going on in current culture that's crazy? We got the Super Bowl coming up.
Yes, bro. It's been set. It's been set in stone. Another rematch.
Chiefs versus 49ers.
Niners, Chiefs. Man, we have two work colleagues that were, one of them likes the Niners and the other one likes the Lions. And I was just thinking about them like the whole time the game was playing. I was watching it, and the Lions were up. They were up good. They were up big early. And I was like, damn, boy.
They were doing it to him.
He's happy.
For real.
First time in 32 years. First time in his entire life they've been in this position. This is wild.
They were poised to go to the chip.
They were ready, and then it's just, no, sir. Just didn't happen for him. So I was pretty sad for him. But I think he had already accepted it the day before. He was like, "Man, I'm good," or like, "I'm proud of their season. Like, it was a good season." Regardless, like they could just have like I could have like the best day of my life tomorrow. Like, it
True.
could be the best game I've ever seen.
That's a great perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good either way, but
He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm proud of them. It was a good season.
it was a good season.
Playing well.
Ravens also a great season.
Yeah, man.
But happy trails.
Fucking bro, Patrick Mahomes is a winner.
This is what championships are,
He's
ladies
a
and
winner.
gentlemen. Your whole season comes down to one great try, and it's not enough. Sorry, we'll see Patty Mahomes again. Like, dude, it comes down to one incomplete pass, one interception, one fumble on the goal line,
one wrong decision,
and your whole story. Not this year.
It's like, nope. Try again next time.
Oh,
Fuck.
damn it, son. Fuck, dude. Feels like they did everything they could. Patty's a goddamn winner, though.
That boy will win, I'll tell you what, brother. That boy can win
Mhm.
some shit, boy.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's got two rings? 3.
I think he has 3.
I think so too, because I know he beat the Niners last time. And then
No, I think you are right, actually.
they lost to the Bucks. They lost to Brady and the Chip. And then they beat Jalen and the Chip. And I think this is their 4th Super Bowl appearance.
Okay, yeah, so he has 3?
I think it's 2.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he has 3 appearances, or this is his 4th appearance in the Super Bowl, and he lost to Tom Brady. He beat the Niners the first time, lost to Tom Brady, and then he beat Jalen Hurts last year.
2020 and 2023. Yeah, good call. They scored 21 fourth quarter points to beat the 49ers in Super Bowl LIV.
Yeah, they were down, bro.
I ain't going out like that.
I ain't going out like that.
I ain't going out like that. Man, that's why I love sports, because you can fucking... Man,
21 in the
same thing with the
4th.
Lions, bro.
Yeah,
like,
bro. The Niners came back on them, dog. They scored 27 unanswered.
dude,
Oh.
putting on them, making special plays.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy shit happens in sports. So, but yeah, Super Bowl. We love the Super Bowl. We love that shit.
Yeah.
It's like we love the World Cup.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
as a species.
Yeah.
Soccer's more popular for sure. But in America, we love Super Bowl, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl Sunday is cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
You want to celebrate. You want to go to a Super Bowl party. You want to play squares. I don't know what the fuck squares is. I forget every year. But I know I want to play some squares when I show up.
Damn it, be all. I'm going to play some squares.
I brought some cash. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, bro. Super Bowl parties are lit.
Eating food. Watching the game.
I want Steve to have a Super Bowl party. Trying to, go to our party and then go to Steve's party.
Stevie
Wonder.
Shout out
If
Stevie.
you're listening, throw a party, please. Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
Give me a phone call after this.
I want the fucking...
What else is going on?
I want the fins to go on for him.
I know, dude. What a heartbreaker, bro.
Yeah.
In and out.
It was too damn cold.
Dolphins don't last in the
Way
cold.
too damn cold.
Fuck that.
And the Chiefs are just fucking... He's a winner, bro. What do you want? Patty Mahomes, he wins. I think Joe Burrow has some of that energy. Whenever he went... I guess he went to the Super Bowl, but he lost to the Rams. But still.
On like one play, bro. So close.
I think it's still that kind of energy. But Patty Mahomes, he's a winner.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, he's a winner.
Yeah.
They win.
Michael Jordan, winner.
Winner.
Just feel it.
Dubs.
It's like, oh shit. When they have the ball, it's like, oh shit.
That takes a lot of fucking sacrifice and a lot of commitment to be that person.
It does.
Who can do that.
It does.
So we just see him win, but like, yeah, like you mentioned today in the gym. He's like, Patty Mahomes probably doing this shit in Kansas City, like, just squatting. You know what I'm saying?
I watched that
He
quarterback.
squats on a Monday, dog.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because also closer to the game, he probably don't want to lift so heavy, which he probably does, because he's fucking Patty Mahomes. But like, he probably shouldn't. He's definitely lifting heavy right now. He's getting it in.
Yeah, let's go, boy. Come on.
For real. Yeah, it's like you ever like played a video game and then like you either watch the pros play it or like you go on YouTube and search like how to play this like a professional, and then all of a sudden you play the game like way different, way better. In reality, it only took like 20 or 30 minutes of doing something extra to like change the way that you play the game. And I think that that's what Tom Brady had. I thought that this morning when I was watching a TikTok video talking about how he had his own film room before the game, where it was like no coaches, just players that had to come to an extra film session before the game where they were going to talk about every single play and all the times they fucked it up in practice. Like, what's going on there, how we're gonna run it, like final decisions, final say on what this route is actually supposed to look like. And like I'm like, yeah, bro, like an hour of extra can literally take you from just like average to winning a winner. You know what I'm saying?
Extraordinary.
It's crazy.
Completely extraordinary.
It's crazy, bro.
Mm.
But it's that kind of person that's like gonna say like, no, I need more.
I need an edge, and not even like an edge like that, but like I want to maximize the amount of me that I'm putting into this. Like I like no stone unturned. You know?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. How do you adopt more responsibility?
Yeah.
It's like things didn't go right. What could I have done to? We fucked that right up in practice. I should have talked with him. I should have said we're running it like this. I knew we were running it like this. I'm having a meeting from now on where I show everybody everything that we fuck up and then saying we're doing it like this. That's like adopting more responsibility for the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. That's ultimately what it is for sure. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. But it looks like that.
Yeah.
That energy. More responsibility is like the answer for a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But it always looks different. Whatever
Yeah.
you're doing. Whatever you're doing it with or doing it in.
But it looks the same.
But it's just winner energy, bro. It's winner energy.
Yeah.
More responsibility. It's winner energy.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck we're about, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Send
Yeah.
them my way.
That's what me too. That's what I thought in my head. I was like, does that make sense here? But it's the same energy. You know what I'm saying? Take responsibility. Like,
Yeah, send it my way. Come on, give me the harder shit to do.
I want the
Give me
harder
the burnt tortilla.
things. Yeah, I don't care.
I'll
Like,
eat that. I'll eat the butt of the bread. I'll
Let's
do
go. You're nasty. I don't have any sauce tonight. Guess what? I'm eating chicken with no sauce.
it. Yeah.
Come on. Like, I don't know why, but that hits me like winter energy. The other day.
Chicken, no sauce. Give a fuck. I'm a winner.
Yeah. Fuck yes, bro. Trying to get the stomach flat. Do what I gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take more responsibility for it. I'll put that on my plate. Put that on my tab.
Yeah, dude. Come on. That's some
what
good
it is.
shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And that's real because there's like snake-like energy. There's like sloth-like energy.
Trying to not do that. Trying to do the opposite of that. Trying to pass that buck.
And yeah, you take the tab.
It's like, whoa.
You're charging me for all of that?
Oh, it wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I didn't even like that drink that much.
I never should have came here.
I never should have came here.
Yep, bro. No, there's different kinds of ways to be, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Mm-hmm.
it'll play out. It's gonna play out in your story. It's gonna play out. Like you could have winner energy. You do your best to try to attain that. It's esoteric and elusive. Who doesn't want to be like Tom Brady? What does it take to be Tom Brady? I don't fucking know. You gotta like take that influence and then go through your life until you feel like
Moments present themselves where you can choose to be Tom Brady like.
yeah. Your imagination says like whatever to you. Sometimes you gotta fuck it up for like a week and then be like, no, I know when this opportunity arises, I'm gonna say this thing, and then you finally say it, and like eventually it gets easier and easier and easier. But for a little bit, like sometimes it just looks like you not doing it, but you being like kind of hostile with yourself. I mean, like, why am I like this? I don't want to be like that. I want to be more like Tom Brady. I want to be more inspired or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. More discipline.
Yeah, bro. It's tight. It's tight. This shit's the fucking process. I'm in love with it.
It's deep out here, y'all.
It's cool.
It's deep.
It's,
Deeper than the surfaces.
it's easier to be in love with it because right now life looks like, you know, cool for us, I guess.
Yeah, life's going well. Life's good. Still got work to do. Always. Always.
Job's not finished.
That's always. Yeah, job's not finished.
Not even close.
Nope. Job's not finished. Job finished?
not at all. You're right. Damn it, Mr. Bryant.
Not even close.
When you're right, you're right.
But yeah, it's good. The story's a story. You gotta trust the story.
Yeah.
Trust the story. Put in all you can and then trust the fucking story, man. Trust the story maker.
Yeah.
It's like you're not the story maker. You're only making so much. You are, but you're not.
Yeah.
You've been given some sort of influence into the script. A lot of responsibilities put on you for sure. You're like the producer and the director and the main cast.
Yeah. All at once.
You're the star all at once.
Luckily, God's for the most part writing the script for you because it's like if you look inward, the answers are usually there.
It's already there.
Yeah. So like that's the thing.
It's already
for
there.
that.
It's good.
Yeah.
The ending is already written.
Yes. Just gotta get there.
You gotta get there. And it's great. And it's great. It's great. It's better than you can imagine. You're limited. You're limited. In a good way. Perfectly limited.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
For your optimal story. You don't want to be Superman to a degree. Like how they had to add, like not faults, but add like kryptonite Because if he was just like fucking Superman all the time and just like Superman kicking ass and never even coming close to true conflict or a true L, if you just blow every team out by 70 points, it's like, all right, I don't even want to watch this team anymore. They're just blowing everybody out by 70 points.
Yeah, right.
It's not a good game. It's a fucking blowout.
Eventually, we'd be
A good game is more exciting to watch, no matter what.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's well said.
yeah. So embrace those limits. They're perfectly made for you.
Fuck yes.
Mhm.
Let's say like work out hard and then enjoy sleep, like grind and then go see a movie.
Yeah.
Like you can do. There's a balance is like a virtue. You know what I'm saying? Like as much as it is just like willpower to become who you want to be, you also have to take into account some of like the being a human part of this thing. You know what I'm saying?
You're human as fuck.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy life. It's like important.
Yes. Yeah. Got past this time. Enjoyably. Preferably.
Yo, I love you guys.
It's possible. We're rooting for you. Keep pushing. Kobe year.
31, Reggie Mill.
31, let's hoop, baby. We're out here. It's Kobe year. We're pushing. You should keep pushing. Resolutions still intact. Let's go. Make it happen.
Keep going.
Keep going.
See you next week.
Peace.
Rolling through the city to the light show. Really ain't no telling where we might